What's good, party people? This is Voodoo in the Woods. I am According to Woods, and he is former UFC champion. He is Pius Inela Lobo, better known as Voodoo Maximus.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you, my friend. Coming from the one and only A Woods,
I guess that's a thing, right?
can't complain, man. Cannot complain, bro.
Can't complain. And one thing that we can't complain about is a epic night of fights last night. That was the UFC Fight Night. Aldo versus Jose Aldo, the featherweight great against Rob Font, and as Aldo kind of tries to position himself in the bantamweight, kind of division where he was the kingpin of the featherweight for so long. And he kind of reminds me of Frankie Edgar, right? Another, featherweight, one would even say greatest of all time, but for me, you can't have two, more than one because that devalues the greatest of all time, right? And but theoretically, a featherweight great that in today's kind of featherweight deal, both Aldo and Frankie Edgar are vastly undersized.
Yeah. uh, in the end, it is what it is.
Yeah, I think Lincoln Park said it best. Shout out to an RIP Chester Bennington, but in the end, it doesn't even matter, right? Is that what we're going
with? Hey, they're pretty much. Hey, they're gonna make those fights. That's in the moment fights. The fights that are going to draw the most money. Forget about rankings. Forget about all this things of the past. This is about income now. It's income driven. Once it became income driven, if you don't jump on the ship and jump on the income wagon, you're just gonna get cheated out of what you've earned. You know what I mean? So they're gonna make the fight that's grossing the most according to their calculations, and that's what it's gonna be. So when Conor McGregor says, "When I come back, I'm gonna get the title shot," we understand that this is business. Business is business, and we're in the business of selling the biggest fights in the moment, and we will see. Things will unfold.
We will see. We will see. But going forward with us is Shaman Steve saying, "Good afternoon, gentlemen." Shout out to Shaman Steve. And Roddy Roberts is shouting out Rocky Nelson. So thank both of you for chiming in. But my goodness. So let's get into some fights. Right off the bat for LA MMA, it was kind of a tough pill to swallow because we had Vincent Morales actually KOing in the very first round with Smolka, the Last Samurai. And this one was crazy because, oh my gosh, at the point of impact where Vince KOs Lewis, well, Lewis was tenderizing the shit out of the midsection of one Vincent Morales, or Vince Morales, rather. And he was just tenderizing it like a 14-year-old boy with the Joey stick. Anywho, it was tenderizing and just got caught. Lewis has since gone on social media and it was just like, yep, got caught, eye off the prize and what have you. So he's kind of, taking it, and all respect to Vincent Morales. But, man, this one ended pretty quickly.
Yeah. Sometimes these things happen, Vince Morales, in the way he defended those knees in the tie clinch, he was boxing driven, He took some to the body, and then he went over to the top. These are things that you drill in the gym all the time on the heavy bag. Hit the heavy bag with those close quarter drills. So that's pretty much what he exercised, and they work perfectly to a T. So these are things that you don't even think about, like the way he executed that. He wasn't even expected to get that knockout like it happened. This is fast twitch muscle. This is his body feeling the moment. He felt the moment. He dropped a 3-3-4 or 4-3, 4-3-4, and then finished off at the top. It was beautiful, man. Reflexes.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, tough one for Team Oyama and one Blue Smoker, but big win for the Las Vegas trained Vincent Morales. So he gets a
Oh
win
yeah,
at his home. So
yeah.
that's cool.
It
But
was earned.
it
It
was
was earned.
definitely earned.
Hmm.
Yeah. But
Hmm.
speaking of earned, Claudio Puelles, man. Or Puelles, that's what I'm going with. But Puelles, if the double L is
Hmm.
ya, so Claudio Puelles, that's what I'm going with. But this third round, in the thick of it, I mean, the fight was going to be over
Hmm.
within 2 minutes if this
Hmm.
mission hadn't got, I guess executed, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And speaking of executed, Chris Gritzmarkers, uh, man, there was all types of like tendon action going on, which is exactly what happens in a knee bar. If you don't tap or whatever, in 1 minute you're fine, you're fine.
Hmm.
Oh shit, it's uh, uncertain danger. I mean, the
Hmm.
way that Gritzmarker's inner thigh looked,
Hmm.
or
Hmm.
quad, no, I'm not quad, but inner thigh,
Hmm.
it almost reminded me of the brain that was in the big thing from
The
Teenage Mutant Ninja
turtles.
Turtles. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Uh,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So there's that, and yes, and Shaman Steve says allegedly, in terms of Conor McGregor getting that title shot. And Mick Mac, our friend from the Eric Bischoff After 83 Weeks podcast, says, Happy birthday, Adam, even though my birthday's not today, and happy Easter. Shout out to you, Mick Mac, always being on top of scheduled dates and services. That's what I'm
That's
going with.
right.
And don't have Mick Mac ask Eric Bischoff about one or two things: cheese and pineapples on hamburgers or condiments in general, or dyeing his hair to support a dog charity in the greater Minnesota area. Like
That's what's up.
that is non-negotiable for one Eric Bischoff. So there's that. But speaking of, yeah, I mean, any comments on the knee bar from Claudio?
It was well executed. There were lots of scrambling. Chris had finally gotten the match where he wanted it on the feet, and it wound up on the ground. He found himself in a knee bar, and he didn't make the necessary moves that he needed to make. It almost seemed like he wasn't he didn't believe the kid could do it, so
Mm-hmm.
he didn't execute. I believe DC was talking about he should have put his heel to his butt and push him off,
Mm-hmm.
and try and slide that leg out, but he didn't execute that, and he paid for it.
Yeah. Speaking of
Simple,
execution,
simple as that.
that kind of assessment that you and the great Daniel Cormier made about putting your foot to your ass, that's something only in jiu-jitsu, right? Because if you put your foot into your ass or close to it, you would be kicking yourself in the ass. There you go. That's my one per episode. Now we had an instance of two Brahma Bulls in a fucking China shop,
Yes,
William Knight
yes.
and Alonzo Menefield. Holy fuck, man. This is, again, these are two action figures. This is like Goro versus Goro. I mean, the fact that both gentlemen, now obviously, 205 pounds, right? A John Jones 205 is different than William Knight and Alonzo Menefield, but like these gentlemen are probably shorter in stature, where they can have the muscle density that they have stepping into the cage. But holy fucking shit! And I believe it was a Menefield fight, in the first one of the first post-COVID UFC events where he cracks his opponent of that night, and it
Hmm.
fucking reverberates to the arena. Even Rogan was like, "Holy shit!" And I think it was that ViStar Arena in Jacksonville. He was like, "Oh shit!" It felt like the fucking punches all over, This is an empty fucking,
Damn.
13 plus thousand seat arena with nobody other than the cage, the octagon rather, and the
Wow.
commentators in the crew. So yeah, but this one, William Knight was like, "Fuck all that bullshit,"
Hmm.
because I mean, there was a couple times where he cracked Alonzo Menefield, and Alonzo Menefield might be checking out the new Safe by the Bell reunion right? Or reboot rather, because his ass got saved by the bell every fucking like up until like the first 2 rounds, right? He got cracked first round, and he's fucking on spaghetti legs. He stumbles into the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Crack the second round, and then he fucking walks on roller skates over this corner. This shit was wild.
Yeah, indeed it was. 205, 205 pounds, light heavyweight. At that kind of weight, with these two kind of individuals, the amount of power possessed by each one, you couldn't have that fight any other way than it went.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't because it's just too much on the line. Too much force. I mean, what do they say? 8 pounds of pressure to get the knockout, and you're talking about 200 pounds of pressure coming from each. All you need is 8, but they got 200 coming. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying? So that fight was it was. I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at the fight because it wasn't as technical as I would want,
right.
but for what it was, it couldn't have been fought any better than they fought. You know, it
No, yeah,
I,
you're
I
right.
don't know. I don't have the words to explain, but I'm very thankful that it happened. The amount of danger that was on the line is just mind-boggling for me.
No, 100%.
You know,
No, and definitely in terms of mind-boggling, right? If you think about the Milton Bradley game where you push the dice goes like all over the fucking place. I don't remember much of the game other than popping that thing and just like maybe it was like my OCD or some shit or or whatever. But I just popped it, and that's probably what Alonzo Menifield's brain was happening as soon as he get punched. It was just like pop, and it
rocking
was
and rolling.
yeah, man. This shit was weird. Shit was weird. And Mick Mac says, Adam is kayfabing me in terms of my birth date. Uh, I can assure you, not, but you know what? It's here nor there. But speaking of here nor there, the the last name of the warrior princess Cheyenne, because in this outing in the octagon, it wasn't Cheyenne Bays, right?
hmm
As married to JP Bays, a South African
hmm
fighter, where their introduction to the UFC audience was essentially a powder puff piece on both of them, right? And how they trained together and all that jazz and whatever. And they both took L's. JP getting finished. Cheyenne, no, actually, Cheyenne did win. She beat Montserrat Ruiz in one of the worst fucking fights I've seen in all of MMA. How could I forget? Hashtag never forget. But she is now Cheyenne Vlismas.
hmm
And it's I try to kind of do some digging in some journalistic integrity to see why
hmm
she's Vlismas,
hmm
not Bays.
hmm
Now that's her given name, her maiden name. But on his Instagram, it still says married to Cheyenne. And then on her Instagram, there's no mentions of him at all. So I don't know what the fuck is going on. But I digress. Cheyenne basically she didn't toe tag Mallory Martin, but she was enough. She did enough to earn a unanimous decision.
hmm
Your thoughts?
Um, Cheyenne is quite talented. I understand why the UFC is pushing her now. She has the ability to rise to the occasion. Um, Mallory Martin was a friend of hers, as expressed by the two ladies.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so that already stresses the situation when
Mm-hmm.
you have to fight a friend, as we will talk about later on this card as well. Uh, uh, Cheyenne was ready to go either way. She was ready to go. It felt more like, I was a younger one in the gym. You was the older one. You know what I'm saying? Um, this ain't the gym no more.
Nope.
You know what I mean? We gonna get it, and she went after it. Excellent combos, the straight punches. We always talk about the straight punches, snapping them straight punches. This is what won her the fight, right? It wasn't more about the hooks and uppercuts. It was
Right.
the 1-2s being mixed up, 1-2s to 2-1s and 1-2-1s and all these, you know what I mean? These beautiful combinations. The hand speed was the key to victory as well. The hand speed. and the combinations, the straight punches and the hand speed. She dismantled Mallory Martin. Mallory Martin didn't really understand what was happening. She wasn't this good in the gym, was the look on her eyes. She wasn't this good in the gym. You know what I'm saying? Whoa, 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 whoa. What's going on here? Was she really that much better? But this is what it was. Cheyenne was that much better, and as she won this one by unanimous decision.
Absolutely. Now, the last time that we saw Cheyenne with her uh, name that she entered the octagon with is what I'm going to say.
Mm-hmm.
She earned herself a $50,000 performance bonus, right? To which she
Mm-hmm.
cried and was like, "This is the most money," and what
Mm-hmm.
have you. And like she almost went broke, in her fight camp, and she only had, no more than a couple hundreds, and maybe I might be embellishing that,
Mm-hmm.
overstating it. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
this one doesn't net her a performance bonus or whatever. But I also am like, that money and Shine Bays doesn't strike me as well as JP doesn't strike me as like, I don't know, stable.
Mm-hmm.
And you can take that whatever way that you, and maybe I'm reading it wrong, and I apologize. But I'm all thinking like, oh, she got that 50G check. He's on a 0-2 run in the UFC. Ooh.
See ya.
Mm-hmm.
But it is what it is, though. I believe these two ladies were recipients of a performance or fight of the night. They were given fight of the night.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
wait,
At
so
first,
she got another. Wow. Yep, that is true.
Didn't they get fight of the night?
They got fight of the night, which
Mm-hmm.
holy shit, she's
Right.
yep. There's no way that JP is making his way back. He's not hulking up and making a comeback because he's got 100 G's and lives in Vegas with it's no
She
tax.
maxed out. She
Yeah.
doubled down and maxed out real quick. Damn.
And again, I don't know what's going on. I don't want to speculate, but fuck, man. Shout out to Cheyenne, man. That's
Vlismus.
yes. Yeah.
Vlismus.
Well, it's
Hey,
gonna
hey,
be a very
it's
great
gotta-
Christmas wherever the hell she lays her head. So,
It's got a nice ring to it. Vlismus.
Vlismus
Cheyenne
Christmas.
Vlismus. Yeah, I think.
So does Benedict Cumberbatch and Engelbert Humperdinck.
I think she done hooked up with the Ultimate Warrior, hit that rocket fuel, and she's going straight to the top.
Nope, straight to the top.
Straight to the top.
But is seemingly things that are, trying to head to the top is one, Brian Barberena, over his unanimous decision win over Darian Weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And man, there's weeks and weeks of training, but that meant absolutely nothing to Bam Bam Barberena.
No.
Your thoughts?
Barberena is a pressure fighter, which is highly effective in this style of sport. He's well diverse. He can fight on the ground. He can kickbox. He's consistent. This is why he's successful. When he goes in there with the top 10s and the top 7, 6, 5, he gets stopped. Those guys can't beat him. But these young guys coming up, like a Darren Weeks, he's gonna he understands those 15 minutes. You know what I mean? He understands when to push. When you know what I mean? He gets it. He gets how to push the pace, and that's what he did. He did that for 3 rounds. He remained in the guy's face, Weeks' face, and in the 3rd round, he anteed up one more time and brought more pressure. Right? They were both trading and exchanging the whole time, but Brian had more output and he landed more significant shots, and that got him the unanimous decision.
Yeah, absolutely. Mick Mac says Adam loves Virgil. Fuck Virgil for hitting on my mom. I went to go get an autograph at the Silver Nugget Casino, and my dad is kind of standing about 5 feet away. My little sister with my dad, and I'm like, oh, I'm black, he's my hero, whatever the hell. He beat the shit out of $1 Million Man for, whatever. And then here I am with the day. I walk with my mom to get the autograph, and he looks at her and is like, "Would you like to be my valet for the next match?"
Wow.
And my fucking stubby little fingers, I'm like, my dad is, and then my mom mercilessly fucking antagonized my dad. Every kind of dust up that they had, they were like, "Well, I can be Vince's valet." So yeah, fuck Virgil and his breadsticks and his meat sauce. But speaking of meat sauce and beef, man, Menal Cape, fucking hell. I mean, you were talking about understanding, right? And Brian Barberena understanding, the usage of the 15 minutes. One thing that Manal Cop didn't understand is how to get the fuck back. How you had Keith Peterson, the ring announcer, the security guard. Like, I don't know what the fuck. I don't know if there was some beef between Zalga Zumagulov and Manal Cop, but holy shit, man. He could not get back, but for his efforts, he gets a first round KO or TKO of Zalga Zumagulov. But I was just, I felt kind of salty. I was like, motherfucker, like, listen to instructions. Just fucking get your ass back. Like, if there's, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get where you're gonna beat the shit out of him, which, I mean, it ended up happening. But we can't start this shit unless you fucking move back to your neutral fucking corner. God damn it.
Hey, but the young Manel Cape, excellent execution. Star Boy, let's first talk about his fight. His fight was spectacular. On his way into the UFC, he lost 2 fights straight. Then he came back, and he's balanced out on those 2 fights that he lost. Now his career can begin. You know what I mean? So he wins. Excellent hands, sniper shots, dropped them, finished them. Post-fight, excellent use of the mic, showmanship after the win, the Cristiano Ronaldo technique after a score or whatever, linking, to Spain. He's from Spain, right?
Yep.
Yeah, he's making that Spain connection, you know what I mean? So everybody in Spain, they're gonna go crazy for that when he does that. Excellent. This is how you secure home base. You connect with them. You connect with the people. And he used the Ronaldo thing to connect with the people, right? Americans might be like, what was that? You know what I mean? But he knows what he's doing. And he gets on the mic. Excellent use of the mic. He utilized the microphone like you should. You're there to entertain fans. Yes, it's a fight. But remember, you're there to entertain fans. And the more people you can entertain, the more they're going to pay you. The more they're going to pay you. And if you keep winning, the belt will come later. Don't even chase the belt. Focus on your money. You know what I'm saying? Stack your chips. The more chips you stacking, guaranteed the belt's going to follow. People do it the other way.
Yeah.
Don't do it the other way.
Which, in a bit of a correction, he is much like Aldo Montoya, the Portuguese man of war. He is actually, Manal Cop is from Portugal rather than Spain. So that is my
right.
Yeah. But
one of the two.
One of the two. Somebody conquered somebody, and I'm just saying we got a dark Portuguese. Like a Sting as an Englishman in New York. So I'm just saying,
Oh yeah. By the way, one more thing.
Yeah.
I didn't understand why Zolgis felt the need to stand and bang pretty.
No, I agree.
I didn't get that. Like, what were you thinking? Like, did you not study your opponent? Because if he studied his opponent, he will understand that will be a waste of time. Set it up, get the double leg, take the fight to the ground. Do what your people do. Do what your people do. Wrestle. You know what I mean? Wrestle. Represent the folks. You know what I'm saying? He wanted to do something else. I didn't get that part. That other one is not what you are.
You know what? Maybe I can shed light on this, right? So I'm Polynesian, well, half, right, from Fiji, right? And
Mhm.
if you've ever seen Polynesians in professional wrestling, Tongans, Samoans, or whatever,
Mhm.
what
Mhm.
happens? What neutralizes an opponent more than anything else? Your head. So
That's right.
if I'm getting into a fight with somebody, bam, that's coming right at you, right? So Zalgas, whose head probably looks like one of the mountain what is it, statues in Easter Island, was like, fuck it, I can take a punch. Didn't work. Didn't work.
Hey, what he forgot was he's not going to be aiming for that cranium. He's coming for that jawline. You know what I'm saying? He's coming for that jawline. 8 pounds of pressure. Sorry, nighty night. He
Yep.
wakes up later.
He's probably, I mean, he went from head kind of formed like the Easter Islands statues to probably waking up in Easter. Yeah, we'll see Zalgas in April. Let's just say that. And Adam told me he wants an exhibition match against you. Fuck no. I'm barely trying to get.
Yeah.
I'm trying to run with him and Shaman Steve and Voodoo's dog and try not to die. Right, sometime this month. So yeah, no. I mean, I'm gonna, as a portly gent myself, I'm trying to just get over that hurdle, so to speak, literally and figuratively. So again, this guy has the gold. I just buy him, on eBay. So I'm just saying. But you were talking about connections, right? Manal
Yes, yes.
making the connection of his native Portugal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
you know what? If Dusko Tudorovic wanted to connect with the people of Hawaii,
Mm-hmm.
he didn't do a great job. He didn't do a great job of basically endearing himself to the island people because he threw bombs against the coconut bombs, Maki Patolo. He basically gets it down in the very first round. Matt
Yep.
Dusko was, I mean, that motherfucker wanted to fight. He's like, I'm not by the hour. Let's get this shit done. You know, um, Jesus Christ, man. I mean, a good showing, and I mean, could have been a performance of the night bonus if not some of the shit that were to come later in the card.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, when you look at Dusko, he's when you look at him percentage wise, he's 50% ground because to become a black belt in jiu-jitsu,
Mm-hmm.
you must have put in some work. You know what I mean? This ain't 2 years and you're a black belt.
Right.
You know what I mean? This isn't the other kind of martial art. That's one
Hey,
thing
I've
that
seen motherfuckers on
I'll give up
Instagram
to
though,
jujitsu.
especially during the pandemic. Like you're a no stripe white belt and whatever, and then now you're a fucking, online black belt and shit like that. What are we doing even?
hey, I'm talking about the ones that are legit. You
Right?
know what I'm saying? Not no 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. There might be someone out there who's gotten a black belt, a legitimate black belt in 4 years. Somebody like a BJ Penn or something like that. I
Yeah.
remember there was something unique about his acquisition of a black belt. Something American record that he
Mm-hmm.
holds. I can't remember what it's about, but Dusko is 50% uh, uh, ground, and the other 50 is broken up into all the other pieces of martial art that he studied. Um, he looked fantastic. He stood very well. Uh, he went for the double. Marky Portola stole the guillotine,
Yeah.
but he didn't have position. One thing that Hickson Gracie always says that rings loud in my ear is secure the position before the submission.
Mm-hmm.
Secure the position before the submission. You know, when I talk to my students, the young ones, I try and drill that into their head. You know what I mean? Like, hey, none of them know who Hickson Gracie is, but I'd be like, hey, Hickson Gracie. Hickson Gracie says, secure the position before the submission. They'd be like, who? Secure the position before the submission. And your submission ratio will be much higher if you're able to secure the position. And this is the lesson for the kids. And this was the same lesson that was displayed by Dusko Todorovic. Once he caught the back, he flattened him out. He could have gone for a submission or things of that nature, but he's like, nah, I want a stoppage. So he went in there and potted him out until the referee got involved, and he got his ground and pound. So when you see that KO, it doesn't mean he went to sleep. He just subdued him with strikes to the back of the head, or side of the head, or whatever you want to call it. And he finished the fight.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned about instilling. Well, you actually said drilling stuff into the students' heads, and two people that wanted to drill things into each other's head was one Alex Morano, the Great White, again Mickey Gall. Now,
Yeah.
Mickey Gall, I'm not 7-4 is still a respectable record, right? But it's been up and down, where he's the guy who wanted to welcome CM Punk into the UFC, right? And he actually he does exactly that, choking out CM Punk. Well, not choking out, but securing a naked choke, and then in terms of other kind of UFC pet projects, people that are raised in traditional martial arts, which Mickey is absolutely a votary of, as his sister Jamie, right? But after CM Punk, he does the same thing to Sage Northcutt, right? But then it's up and down. A unanimous decision loss to Randy Brown. George Sullivan, he rear naked chokes him, but then loses, gets KO'd by Diego Sanchez at a time. I mean, this is 2019, where you shouldn't get KO'd by Diego Sanchez. I mean, Diego Sanchez was getting KO'd by Josh Fabia, to be honest with you. And then unanimous decision win over Sam Tuhari, but losses to Mike Perry again. Diego Sanchez of a different name, theoretically. And then a rear naked choke win over Jordan Woods. But facing in Alex Morano, and it's like he wilted, and that made me think, right? When you look at a Mickey Gall, Mickey's been so great to me every time that he's been around, so I'm not talking shit, but I did wonder, right? Him or the Super Sage Northcutts of the world, right? Yes, you can train a traditional martial arts from the time you're in diapers all the way up, right? But does that give you the killer instinct, especially when a lot of those disciplines are, learn everything so you don't have to use it? Is kind of the reverberating factors or principles, right? So they might not have a kill switch like Alex Morano displayed last night against Mickey Gall. So I don't know if that's the case or what have you. Because when Mickey Gall has looked spectacular, he has looked spectacular, and the times where he's face defeat, it's been like, oh, is this guy here? And I hate to say it, but like if he gets a pink slip after this, I don't think anybody would be too surprised.
Yeah. Alex Morano. Let's start with him. The shark, the white shark, right?
The Great White, yeah.
The Great White, yeah. He was that. The other day we talked about not only is he a Great White, he's got the character of a killer whale as well. You know what I mean? So you got this Great White with the internal character of a killer whale. You know what I mean? He's even more vicious that way. He's a student of the game, complete fighter, complete fighter. He's been in there with some serious fighters. So when a Mickey Gall comes in at 7-4, it's not that Mickey Gall is not improving. Mickey Gall, every time we see him, he's actually getting better.
Right.
We see that. But it just so happens when you're swimming in the UFC shark infested waters, sometimes you're gonna run into a bigger fish. You know, they make video games about it. You know, that video game with that shark eats another shark and it gets bigger, and then it becomes a great. Yeah, that's what the UFC is. Everyone in the UFC are all sharks, sharks of different sizes, and this is what happens. You know, it is what it is. It wasn't Mickey Gall's night. Um, as long as he keeps improving, I will advise Mickey Gall to get on the track. He's got great technique, even though he's very, very 50% jiu-jitsu or ground fighting. 50% invested in ground fighting, and everything else is improving. I have no quarrels with what everything else that he's doing. His striking is actually very good. I like his striking. He punches and kicks, which I can respect. But I think hand speed has to improve.
Yeah.
And for that to improve, he's got to get his legs moving faster as well. Then he can sync the two. So he's got to get on the track. He's got to get on the track program. This would be my recommendation. For him to be able to keep up with Alex Moreno, he needs that fast twitch, much improved. And it can be done. It can be done. He's just got to train other parts of his body, other different sets of muscle groups in his body to give him that speed that he's looking for.
No, 100%. That I think that's an accurate assessment. But yeah, this is where the rubber meets the road, where you want to be an active, vicious mixed martial arts fighter or an ardent, martial artist. And, just like being a mixed martial artist and becoming wealthy, those are two separate things. Well, being a martial artist and being displaying the viciousness of a mixed martial arts fighter is two different things as well. So we're seeing a lot of separation in terms of ideals, right? But I think that's going to go, and we're going to see that as the sport grows more and more. We're going to see it even more, where it's just like, I mean, I did a podcast earlier this week with Marie Shadows, and it was like Fate of MMA, where I kind of stated, hey, I wouldn't be surprised in 5 years the UFC is like that Hugh Jackman movie in Real Steel between motherfuckers like John Jones and Violent Bob Ross, Luis Pena, and motherfuckers showing up to their ex, wife's, new husband's place with a gun and whatever, and there's CCE there. I mean, obviously, Endeavor, the parent company of the UFC, is essentially I mean, it's a globally, traded stock on the stock market, right? So all it takes is one or two bad deals over the course of, a Benoit type situation. And I'm not wishing that, but I mean, with some of the hits these guys and girls are doing, they're going to figure, and where technology is not stopping, right? If you look in retail or food, especially fast food, chances are you got 2 years. Even heck, I mean, total disclosure, before I did this, I was driving for Uber. They've got driverless cars, so I kind of feel like that's where we're gonna get to. So it sucks that we have girls and guys as children are training in not a particular discipline, but all of MMA, right? And there are more of those practitioners than ever before, in 5-10 years, and there might be less and less money for them or places to apply their trade because technology is far more advanced. So it's just I don't know. I could be absolutely wrong. I mean, Back to the Future said we were going to have flying cars and pizzas that you throw in the damn thing, and it's a full size pizza. So yeah, I'm just saying. And McMac says toilet paper over or under right now. I don't. You know what? I don't want to disclose it because I don't want like some what is it like masterminds of burglary. There's been that right. Getting all Louis Vuitton stores and affluent people or whatever. Well, motherfuckers might dress up like the characters from Squid Game or at least the whatever and try to steal my toilet paper. So I'm going to plead the fifth. Just saying. Yeah. Now, speaking of fifths, man, going like a fifth of vodka to your dome. I mean, Chris Action Man Curtis, man, beats Brandon All in Allen with the first right in TKO, right? And what you're seeing from me, right? This is almost a child with no love, right? Out of Chris Curtis, right? This is the guy that does everything right, or the girl that does everything right and doesn't get the object of their affection, right? Because Chris Curtis has done everything right. Oh, a damn near 30 fight career, check. Won regional titles, check. Finish, be exciting, check. Improving his craft, improving his body, check. Right? Breaking your fucking hand on Dana White's Contender Series, right? And fucking sweet chin music. Shawn Michaels super kicking a motherfucker to get a KO. And guess what? Greg Hardy has got your fucking contract, bro. Right? So all of these things, they've basically tried to deny Chris Curtis over and over, year after year after year, right? And this is what you're seeing. The effect of all of that is linked to the fantastic performances that Chris Curtis has basically laid claim to in his UFC kind of ascension.
Yeah, Chris Curtis is quite an impressive fella. But let's talk about Brandon Allen first. Brandon Allen looked real good. Brandon Allen, another well-balanced mixed martial artist. You could call him a 50-year as well, but he's got very good striking, 50% jiu-jitsu because I've seen him grapple. His grappling is very, very, very good. His striking is not so bad either, right? It's not his striking. It's the opponent knowing what to do with his striking. That was the key to victory here. Chris Curtis is an excellent inside fighter. Not only is he an inside fighter, he's a southpaw inside fighter. He's very comfortable in the pocket. At range, he can fight you at range, right? But inside, this is where he thrives. And a beautiful check hook, I believe it was, to clip his opponent, and then he went for the kill. I mean, he's just so here's the analogy that I have for Chris Curtis. Okay, so everyone's at the line, they're gonna race. They're all lined up. The thing hits, they're all running, right? Chris Curtis, he's still on a bus. The bus is pulling up to the line. He jumps out with momentum and starts to run. Right? He didn't start from a standstill because he was in the underground grinding. Like you said, over 30 fights in the underground. Now he's on the main stage and he hit the ground running. You know what I mean? So he's catching up to these cats because he already has momentum. He you know what I'm saying? He's been doing this. He just hadn't been recognized for it. The last fight, he mentioned himself that the big fella with the spinning heel kick in the heavyweight division, that guy was the one that outdid him because he was a favorite for 50,000 bonus. He was a favorite that last time until that happened. That was his first fight, and he's already doing bonus material.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Bonus worthy material. He comes into this match. I believe he was a recipient of a $50,000 bonus, right?
Yep.
Is he?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, he's coming in already knowing what's up. He's already knowing what's up. The experience, right? He knows what it takes to become a successful uh, uh, fighter, a paid fighter. He knows what to do to become. Bottom line, he knows what to do to become a paid fighter. He
Yep.
goes in there, he performs. When it's time to get on the mic, he handles his business. You know what I mean? He spoke. He put something out there. He casted his rod, right? You guys underestimated me, which is fine. You know what I mean? I don't mind being an underdog. I'm gonna come in and keep doing what I do, and he's doing it. And he's already talking about, I'm ready to fight next week. Hit me
Mm-hmm.
up. What more do the UFC like more than someone of this type of integrity? You know, he's
Mm-hmm.
always ready to go. They love dudes like this. This is why they love Donald Cerrone so much,
Yep.
and Conor McGregor.
And
You know what
Hamzat.
I mean? Hamza Chimaev. You know, these dudes are ready to go, and he's one of them. You know what I mean? He's one of them, and the sky's the limit.
Yeah. Oh, Lupe Godinez as well. All right.
There you go. There
Yeah,
you go.
absolutely. Just
Hmm.
ready to go. Which
There you go.
and nothing against Brandon Allen, right? But this is almost like a degree, right? Like you go to college, right? You go to college and you get a degree, right? And
Hmm.
some people will get degrees in molecular biology, right?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
some motherfuckers will get degrees in cheese appreciation and pay the
Hmm.
same amount, right? And
Hmm.
nothing, and a degree theoretically is still a degree, but what is transferable, right? And it looked like
Hmm.
the degree and the valor of his quote unquote degree was much more advantageous on this night than one Brendan Allen, all in
Hmm.
Allen.
Hmm. Hmm. All in, all in. The
Yep,
man put it all in, and he doubled down. It is what it is. He's making it happen.
yep,
Shout out to Chris Curtis.
absolutely. And again, uh, we've said it once before, but bears repeating. But to Chris Curtis, it earns him an extra $50,000. So shout out to you, good sir. That's not bad with the holidays coming up. So
That's right.
uh, I'm just saying, right? But
That's
speaking of
right.
holidays, right? I mean, the UFC should just have a holiday for UFC Hall of Famer Clay the Carpenter Guida
Hmm.
because this dude just keeps on going. Now,
Hmm.
my wife kind of got upset at the commentators. I couldn't remember which, but in Clay Guida's post-fight, interview with Daniel Cormier right before Cormier puts the
Yeah.
mic to Guida, they utter something like, "Oh, he'll be 40 in a couple days" or something like that. My wife was like, "How the hell are you gonna just shout out my age to the international damn audience? What the fuck?" She didn't say what the fuck. She's a good person. Me, on the other hand, but yes, uh, but Clay Guida, when his last contract with the UFC was coming up for, I guess, disputation, I'm gonna
Hmm.
go with, he goes, he makes an audience
Hmm.
of the people in the arena that night. It was like, hey, I'm only going to sign one more contract in my professional fighting career. I've given so much to this. I've fought everywhere. I've literally been in the UFC at least 10 years, right? Something like that. Clay Guida goes way back to, I mean, King of the Cage and Strike Force and Shudo. And his first UFC win and fight was in WEC in 2006, right?
Hmm.
So over a
Hmm.
decade in the UFC,
Hmm.
right? Um, so Clay Guida made his intentions known. He was like, you know what? I've got one more contract to go in my professional career, and I wanted to be here in the UFC where I've made my home.
Hmm.
So Clay Guida basically subbing one Leandro Santos, right? That was it,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And it's great. I saw him myself at UFC 199 at the Forum in Inglewood. That was the
Hmm.
night where Bisping won the title from Luke Rockhold, and on that, I mean, he he gets KO'd by Brian Ortega, and you know, little did we know what Brian Ortega was going to bring to the table, right? But it's kind of a cool little timestamp Both men have gone into their careers. Obviously the tenured vet of Clay Guida and Brian Ortega just fought for the title in his division, right? That's in the featherweight division. So I mean, Clay Guida, Shaman Steve says it best. He loves Clay Guida. I think I
Yeah.
might actually have a Clay Guida action figure somewhere around here. This,
Yeah.
this is, I mean, he's a Hall of Famer for a reason. And
Mhm.
he didn't get into the Hall of Fame himself. He got it as a fight of, like a fight that he had
Mhm.
was essentially Hall of Fame worthy.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
and here he is still doing it. He has given
Still
his
doing it.
entire life, right? Goes
Yep.
everywhere to train. He lives out of a camper, essentially.
Mhm.
He goes up to
Mhm.
Team Alpha Male. He comes down to here to LA and goes to System Training Center, anywhere to get work, wherever to get the best work.
Mhm.
Pretty much as kind of life, right? Kind of pushed it on the back burner just to, have again, a Hall of Fame career in mixed martial arts and to
Mhm.
kind of hang it up in the number one promotion in the known land. So
Mhm. Mhm.
I don't know what Mars is doing. So yeah, man, Clay fucking Guida, man.
Yes, yes. But Leandro started this particular matchup, man, with a beautiful front kick,
Yes, he
a
did.
snapping front kick, the front kick that I talk about all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Not that push him. Don't push him. Don't push him. Take that energy and send it right into the abdominal and let it hover inside the abdominal, shifting the guts. That's what you want. You don't want to push the entire frame. You want to shiver the guts. And that's what that front snap kick does.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Someone else did a whole lot of it this weekend. I can't remember who. It'll come to me. But that front kick, man, was key. He hindered Clay Guida for quite some time, but
Yes, he
Clay,
did.
being the tough SOB that he is, he grinded right through that pain. He grinded right through it. By then, the opponent was extremely tired. He was able to make it out of the first round, but immediately into the second round, Clay Guida mauled him, took his back, and submitted him.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It was a wicked kind of. I mean, Gable gripped the shit out of him. It wasn't your. It was your traditional rear naked choke on
Hmm.
roids. That shit
Hmm.
was all forearm. Oh
All over
man,
his face. He crushed
absolutely.
his face.
Yeah, it was like a face crank into the fucking.
Hey, he made him tap to pain. That
Yeah.
wasn't a blood choke. That was a pain choke. He
Uh huh.
made him tap to pain. Pain. What's it
Mm-hmm.
gonna be? Pain.
Yep.
Pain.
Right. What is it? Brock Lesnar. Here comes the pain. Clay Guida was
Yeah.
learning from the book of Brock. Brock Lesnar. You know. Yeah, man. A good win for Clay Guida. He himself, again, picking up another performance bonus, 50 G's to him.
Yeah.
And this was
Yeah.
fun because, on a fight night, we had five, performance bonuses. And I mean, the recipients,
Hmm.
we have four of them performance of the night bonuses. And then the Cheyenne Vlismas, Mallory Martin, that
Hmm.
50 G's went to each fighter. So that's,
Hmm.
what
Hmm.
is it?
Hmm.
$300,000,
That's
right?
right, man. That's right.
$300,000 to
That's
six
right.
people.
That's right. As it should be. As it
Yeah,
should be. You go out there and you perform, you should be compensated for
absolutely.
excellent performance. You know what I mean? Just like
Hmm.
football. All them receivers and that catch a touchdown, they get a little bonus, a little stipend. You know what I mean? The cornerbacks like Deion Sanders, those dudes, man,
Hmm.
every time they get an interception, that's a nice check. You know what I
Yep.
mean? This is what they do. Since these guys are performing, let's give them what they've deserved. You know what I mean? Give them a little performance bonus. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Nothing
Well,
wrong with that. I'm not mad at $50,000.
nope, not at all. I don't think anybody would be like, take this back. This shit is whack. No, I'll take that. I'll take that on Twice on Sundays. And speaking of people who answered that call when they're like, "Oh shit, here's a $50,000 bonus. Here's a $50,000 bonus." Now, obviously, as it's going on, you don't know, but I want to believe there's some one-upsmanship going on backstage, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
The trainers and coaches are kind of letting people know as their fighter is warming up, hey, this person did you see that? Oh shit, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
right? So Jamal Hill kind of answering that kind of assumption, and he's like, oh, cool, bro. Hold my beverage because I don't know if he drinks or not. He can be straight edge, and I don't want to insult his life choices without saying, "Hey, hold my beer." But I mean, in about the time that it takes some to pour beers, 48 seconds. 48 seconds. He
Mm-hmm.
earns 50 G's. And you were mentioning about Chris Curtis talking about, hey, call me up next week, right? Somebody falls off. Oh, that's what Jamal Hill said, and Jimmy Crute, man, fucking amazing fighter, 12-2 coming into this particular bout, but falling to 12-3,
Mm-hmm.
just a vicious fucking right hook KO from Jamal Hill.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Jamal Hill, upon finishing his opponent, he had a little issue with the what is that sports station?
ESPN?
ESPN. Yeah, he had a little issue with the little setup that they had because all three individuals, I guess Rashad Evans and the two other fellas,
Oh,
they
it's
they
Daniel Cormier, or was it?
no,
Oh,
the
the
guys
pre-show.
in
The pre-show. Yeah,
in the
yeah.
box, yeah. Those guys, they betted against him. They all
Mm.
said he was gonna lose, and at the post fight interview, he voiced this. He voiced it out, and I like how he did that. And it's not about the voicing; he's creating conversation. You know, he found a way to create conversation. Right? This will be talked about like we are talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
This is how you build your platform. Right? Every chance you get, speak. Grab that
Mm-hmm.
mic and do something with it. Just don't tell me about your manager. I don't care about your manager. You know what I mean? Every time I think about that, it makes my blood boil. It
Could
pisses me
tell.
off. You know, it pisses me off when they used to do that. But it doesn't happen as much anymore. You know, uh, uh, be ready to use that microphone. It's very important because the more you can connect, it's like a gladiator, the 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 famous fighter when he connected to the fans, he became immortal. So this is the key to success in the UFC.
Yeah, you know what's fun though? If you're gonna make an analogy, and this analogy, kind of went right into my noggin as you're making the, the analysis of the post pre and post show panel, kind of
Mm-hmm.
picking Jamal Hill to lose, right? Well, it reminds me of one of my favorite movies of all time, A League of Their Own. And in the League of
Mm.
Their Own, one of the gals, and if you don't know, it was that that World War II where iconic pieces of culture came up, like Rosie the Riveter and what have you,
Mm-hmm.
Negro baseball, just because there was essentially, um, the males had to go and fight in the war, right? That was the first incarnation of the draft here in the United States, right? So, League of Their Own is about an all girls female league, and they take I believe the Rockford, Illinois Peaches, right, with Gina Davis and Jesus Christ, why am I blanking on her name? But the girl from Tank Girl and a bunch of other
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Lori Petty, right? Lori
Mm-hmm.
Petty, um, and they were kind of feuding sisters. But as they're kind of making the loop and making the towns, one of their teammates had a child named Stillwell Angel, right? And Stillwell Angel would do fucking shit. They're trying to sleep, and he's running up and down the fucking bus and everything in the 1930s or 40s. I can't remember which, right? And there was one time at a game where the girls got their comeuppance on Little Stillwell Angel, right? And I think
Mm-hmm.
the girls of the Rockford Peaches was Jamal Hill to the announcers, right? Is Stillwell Angel. He's like, you're gonna lose, you're gonna lose, and took one of those heavy ass fucking catcher's mitts, and boom, there you go, kapaya, bye bye, Stillwell Angel, bye
Mm-hmm.
bye. And I think that's exactly what Jamal Hill did to the pre and post fight commentary team.
Yeah. Stop underestimating me was pretty much what he was saying.
I would
Uh,
like to see him do that with all the fucking Vegas odds makers and shit. I don't know shit about gambling on fucking sports or whatever, but don't
hey,
they do the same thing?
I'm sure he made somebody a lot of money.
Yeah.
I don't believe he was a favorite to win this because I mean Jimmy Crute is a balanced mixed martial artist with excellent grappling and excellent this and that. But when you're dealing with the ones and twos and hand speed, well, this particular situation, it was a southpaw hook while sliding out. You know what I mean? He hit him with that perpendicular, and
Yep.
it didn't work out for him. He caught him slipping and finished him off.
Yep.
Beautiful knockout.
I like that.
Excellent speed.
Perf-
Well executed.
Perpendicular, equals. You put perpendicular in the equation, and what equals is slipping. I like it. Fuck yes. Fuck yes. But you know what else I like? The fact that we are at the co-main events of the evening. We have the we have Brad Riddell against Rafael Fiziev, the arch nemesis of Hasbullah, right?
Mm,
Because this dude fucking, and we'll get to that, but Rafael basically finishes Brad Riddell almost in the vein of one Edson Barbosa. You remember that
mhm,
fucking wheel kick that he
mhm,
displayed, Edson
mhm,
Barbosa rather
mhm, mhm,
displayed to and administered to Terry Edom. Well,
mhm, mhm,
Rafael Fiziev did the same to Brad Riddell. Uh,
mhm,
this one was crazy, but going into the fight, right? I talked kind of at length, and every time, like one of the bays, whether it be Cheyenne, now Vlismas, or JP Bays, I go back to the introduction, right, to the UFC audience of that couple, where they were
mhm,
just like every time that there was a free spot on the UFC programming that night, it was allotted to the Bazes, right?
mhm, mhm,
And first impressions are everything to me, right? So this kind of reminded me of that. Or if you're a pro wrestling fan, you hear Bret Hart's account of the Iron Man match with Shawn Michaels, right? And
mhm,
the lead up to it, they had strong. I mean, Shawn looking strong, looking younger, even though they were not that far in age, but looking younger. Whereas fucking Brett was training in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, in the in the middle of the winter, and it's hard to run on fucking snow, and he
mhm,
looks like he's a feeble old man. And then Brett's dad, the legendary Stu Hart, catch wrestler shooter, is basically tapping out Brett. So it didn't make him look very good. Well, that's what I felt of Brad Riddell, because they had him basically, in his training, he's lifting boulders or rocks or some shit in, yeah, like in the sea or whatever, some unorthodox training. And for
mhm,
me, I just remembered, like, Brett, that was to me, in essence, like Bret Hart basically, fuck, fucking dog.
mhm,
But Bret Hart basically the winner.
mhm. Yeah, man. Brett remains the excellence of execution. He will always be that. Best there is, best there was, best there ever will be. He lived it and he performed it. He was a professional, technical. He did everything right. Brett did everything right according to the business. You know what I mean? He did everything right according to the business. But shout out to Bret Hart, man, one of my favorite, most favorite wrestlers of all time. So shout out to Bret Hart. But when we're talking about this co-main event of the evening, we're talking about Rafael Fiziev. Brad Riddell, fine individual, balanced fighter, complete fighter, good on the ground, excellent speed, excellent speed, but he lacks dexterity. he lacks the snap. He doesn't snap. He's powerful, right? He tries to snap, but he doesn't have a full body snap. He doesn't have a full body snap. A full body snap, possessing that, is the ability to do that whip kick that Rafael did to end the match, right? When you have the physical consciousness to do a whip kick like that, then you have that full body awareness. So Rafael, they both know each other, and from the way they fought, you could tell that Rafael was the one who got the better of the exchanges. Um, he understood when pressured that Riddell would roll out to his right with his hands down, and someone who is familiar with throwing this kick, who has that flexibility to throw this kick, they would understand that it's a possibility and they will be aware of it. Riddell didn't even see it. It wasn't that he was so tired or exhausted. This is something that hasn't been drilled into his body, whip kicks. And because it hasn't been drilled into him offensively, he didn't quite have that connection mentally to defend it. If you can't throw it, how could you really truly understand it? You know what I mean? So this is what happened. Fizaev was able to up him one by having that ability, that dexterity and that free flow to throw a kick like that.
Yeah, 100%. And it's it's weird. I don't know. I mean, Brad Riddell is still 10-2. That's a fucking hell of a.
That's impressive. Yeah,
absolutely,
that's impressive.
But obviously, not getting the last $50,000 bonus that would be administered or given out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Brad Riddell, right? He, for somebody that calls himself Quake, he has basically what is it? Move the plates in the
Mm-hmm. The
atmosphere of
tectonic
the
plates.
UFC. Yeah, of the UFC.
That's
So
right.
he's there's still a lot of juice there for Brad Riddell, but again, Ziev was just levels ahead.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, it is what it is, man. Stretching, is that important to you? Having the range of motion necessary to kick someone in the head, is that important to you? What are you willing to do to get that kind of flexibility? Right? This is another thing that these fighters have to think about. In order to be truly complete, you have to be able to do stuff like that. You have to be able to. Otherwise, there will always be that deficit, and that could be what keeps you from the championship. It gets to that sometimes, right? It gets to that. So it is what it is. Now, in the main event of the evening, sir.
Yes, we are at the co-main. I mean, the main of the evening. We have arguably the featherweight goat,
Mhm.
greatest of all time, in Jose Aldo. He's the reason why UFC, one of the many reasons that the UFC has a featherweight division, but the standard bearer for so many years, right? And he's going up against Rob Font, right? And this is actually contested in the 135 because before Jose gets, basically calls it career, I think he's going to do much like Connor did, try to get two different, obviously, but and show dominance on where their flourishes of glory from on absolutely.
Sorry about that. Uh, Jose Aldo, unbelievable, unbelievable. indestructible. He still has it. He still has it. But from my observation, time has caught up to Jose Aldo. His skills remain the same. He is still the dangerous individual, but I notice he doesn't kick much like he used to because this is a source of fatigue for him. It's a source of fatigue. This is why he's invested in his boxing. Kicking takes too much out of him. He becomes tired. This is why he doesn't kick as much anymore in order to compensate for him to make it to the fifth round in these 25-minute wars. I get it now. I get it now. I first assumed, but now I'm for certain this is the reason. I understand. Being the kicker myself is quite fatiguing in that length of a match. So, and his opponent was bringing mad pressure in Rob Font. Font brought excellent pressure, excellent techniques, quite dangerous young man, but the experience and ground game of Jose Aldo. I believe Jose Aldo is at a 45 in ground. Everything else, he's invested in boxing and kickboxing, and, whatever. But Jose Aldo is still a top fiver, even though he is as old as he is. And the sky's the limit. I don't mind him fighting TJ Dillashaw. And then if he beats TJ Dillashaw, fighting for the title. I do not mind seeing something like that.
Uh, Amateur fights to boot. It's just straight to the pros for Jose Junior Aldo, right? But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Theoretically, Aldo might have a paper expensive.
I can't hear you. Can you hear me? Yeah, I can't hear you. I know you're spitting fire right now, but I can't hear it. Check the cord. Move the cord. Okay.
What I was actually saying, right, is as it stands, the UFC bantamweight rankings, it's kind of muddled in the way that Jose Aldo he stands at number five, right? Rock one number four, right? I would assume that it's going to get flip flop, right? Then you have at the top three, you've got Corey Sandhagen, basically got bested by Pietro Yan, right, for the interim title, right? And then you've got TJ Dillashaw, which is in the league, right? And then you've got, to me, the paper champion of Aljamain Sterling, the Funk Master, as reigning supreme in the bantamweight division, right? So I can see it. I can see Jose Aldo versus TJ Dillashaw or even Sandhagen, right? But I would assume those are going to be 25 minutes, right? Those are going to probably.
Yo, I still can't hear you. What the hell? Yeah. So Jose Aldo, Hall of Famer, shot caller, King of Rio. Though he didn't speak English, it didn't matter. His accolade speaks for itself. The man is a man's man, as they say in Japan. The Japanese say he's a man's man. Jose
Yeah,
Aldo is a man's man. I was saying a
yeah.
man's
No,
man.
he's a man's man, but I don't think he's got more than 2 fights in him.
Yeah,
Honest to
yeah,
goodness, right?
yeah.
So maybe his aspirations for bantamweight is thwarted. And it's
Hmm.
weird because here is a time where we actually have 2 bantamweight champions. The the paper champion, which is the lineal champion of Aljamain Sterling and Petr
Hmm.
Yan, right?
Hmm.
But he has to
Hmm.
go through Sanhagen and Dillashaw, either or, to do so. And
Hmm.
I would imagine those are going to be headline fights for much like this one with
Hmm.
Rob Font. Those are going to
Hmm.
headline, UFC Fight Nights. I don't even think it'll get the billing, even though it holds the fate of the UFC bantamweight division in its hands. But I
Hmm.
think it's worthy enough to headline or co-main event a fight night, but not do the same of a UFC pay per view. There's
Hmm.
other fights
Hmm.
that you could do it, especially as the UFC has gotten in the habit of essentially getting 2 title fights back to back on a
Hmm.
pay per view,
Hmm.
right? Or even creating titles. In the instance of um, obviously Peter Yan and
Hmm.
Cyril Gane, right? Will
Yeah,
create
yeah.
titles, interim titles, just to kind of keep everything going. So I don't think Jose Aldo and TJ Dillashaw or Jose Aldo and Corey Sandhagen is going to warrant that, no matter what it means for the UFC bantamweight division, right?
Hmm.
So here we are. I think those are going to be 25-minute fights, and I think
Yep.
Aldo basically expelled so much energy and ring time, right, in this match with Fonts that he might get thwarted in a match with Sanhagen, a younger Sanhagen, a a beast of TJ Dillashaw. TJ Dillashaw is still one of the greatest bantamweights of all time. Obviously because of the suspension, there's an asterisk to it, but still, he's one of the greatest to ever step foot in that division. Right, to the point where Dana White sent him as a mercenary to kill the 125-pound division, the flyweight division. Right, no one
Hmm.
else,
Hmm.
TJ. Right, which ended up being TJ's undoing, unfortunately.
Hmm.
Right,
Hmm.
so theoretically, if Jose Aldo has 2 fights left in him, I feel those are 2 15-minute fights, and he might drop one. He might drop one, right? So what does that mean for his title aspirations, right? And I think he's paying the piper for. You remember he was saying, "I don't want to fight any more 5-round fights, 5-round fights." Now
Hmm.
he's going to be. He's with this win, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
He's in a precarious position where he's going to
Hmm.
have one, the one with Font, one with Dillashaw or Sandhagen, and then one with either Aljamain Sterling or Peter Yan. So
Hmm.
he's,
Hmm.
it's like what the WWE does when you get injured as a wrestler. You're like, okay, cool, 6 months off. You got knee injury if you're a Rey Mysterio. Cool, your contract's up. You want to go somewhere else? You want to retire? Nope. We're gonna take that 6 months that you're out back, and we're gonna tack it
Hmm.
on the tail end of your fucking deal. So
Hmm.
Jose Aldo was able to, basically say, "Hey, I'm not going to do fucking, 5-round fights." He did it for 2 fights, the one with
Hmm.
Marlon
Hmm.
Moraes, and
Hmm.
someone else, right?
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
but
I can't
that,
remember who, yeah, but I
yeah,
remember that.
because he obviously he fights Peter Yan, right? Gets that title shot, gets thwarted by Peter Yan, right? And then that Marlon Moraes fight was 3 rounds. So really,
Hmm.
it was just that Marlon Moraes fight that he was
Hmm.
able
Hmm.
to go. Oh, I'm only fighting fucking 3 rounds. That's it.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because with Volk, you
Yeah,
know,
I'm sure that decision was income related. I believe he wants to be paid more for 5-round fights, And if
Yeah.
they're not going to pay him more, so why should he fight in a 5-round fight? That's why he kept turning down the main events. But it seems that there's an incentive for him to do 5-round fights now. I think
Yeah.
they're paying him more is the answer to the situation here, because he was all smiles, even in the
Post fight.
pre-photograph sessions and all that. He was happy. He was happy. He wasn't as stone-faced killer that he usually was
Mhm.
before. So I think he's being well compensated. I believe he's being respected now by the company, because we don't hear much from Jose Aldo in a negative manner, because Jose Aldo's been known to speak up. He ain't
Yeah.
scared of nobody. He'll speak up. It is what it is. This is how I feel. And he's been known to be like that. But he's not really like that anymore lately. So it seems he's being respected. It seems he's getting adequate funding from the company, and this win even helps solidify what he's been telling the company about his value. So he is still that guy. He's still doing what he does. Um, I would like to see him and TJ Dillashaw go at it next. I believe that's long enough time for Jose Aldo to heal, rest, and then come back into training camp. TJ Dillashaw is doing rehab, perfect timing, right?
Hmm.
And then now we have Pietre Yan and what's that fella's name? Aljamain Sterling.
Sterling. Yeah.
Yeah. It'll give those guys enough time to fight, heal, rest, and then get back into training camp. So Jose Aldo is in the perfect striking spot right now. He gets through TJ, and he's in for the title. You could sell that on any continent, any tectonic plate on this earth. The
Yeah.
kids are yelling. They're yelling because of video game. They get
I'm telling you.
so they get
Amped up.
so amped up about it. It's a crazy thing to witness. We weren't
It,
like this when we were young.
fuck yeah, I was. Swear to God. I would get to the fucking, second.
uh, I never really got into video games like that. I played them, like Mario, Super Mario, but then that was as far as it went. But I prefer to watch other people play video games, right? I
What
prefer to
happened?
watch them
Talk
happy, enjoying. Go
I
ahead.
talk I took shit about fucking technology, and the fucking technology kicked me off. But no, I mean, honestly, before the days of memory cards and all that fucking shit and whatever, and saves or whatever, you get to that fucking second, level of Super Mario and shit, the shit comes down, or your mom fucking flicks off the whatever that hits the power switch, and all your freaking fucking gone. I know those days. Fuck yeah. There might have been a motherfucker under my breath. I'm just saying. Just saying, as a 7-year-old. But yeah, there you go, man. But I don't know what's to happen of Aldo. I don't. He might be get paid more, but
Mhm.
I don't know. For me, it's all what is a 40-year-old, 45-year-old, 50-year-old Jose Aldo look like with taking these fights?
Mm.
I don't see a whole lot of upside in that. So in terms of quality of
One
life,
one thing
but
one thing that I will say is uh, the uh, the quantity of head movement in this game is an asset to him. He moves his head a lot. He doesn't get hit with those stiff shots very often. I
yeah,
mean, he does get caught, as everyone, but this is something that he's added, and it's been acquired through the amount of time that he's spending boxing now. That's changing his game, and it's giving him longevity. We always talk about that 1-2, man. The 1-2 sets the tone. It sets the tone, even against a fighter that's a power puncher. This is why I say Cyril Gahn might beat Ngannou. This is
yeah,
my. It's gonna be an upset.
I think so.
Being able to move your feet and throw those ones and twos adequately will change things, and we see that with Max Holloway. Max Holloway was one of the first dudes in. He's not the first. I'm not saying he is, but one of the first that was polarizing. We
Right.
took notice. when he brought the hand speed into the game, we were like, okay. I mean, you could say, well, Vitor Belfort is the first when he did that to Wanderlei Silva and he backed them up from one side of the fence of the octagon to the other side. You can argue that. You can argue that. But in this modern age, Max Holloway is one of the dudes that really highlighted boxing in the octagon. And I'm not saying he's the only one. I'm just saying he was one of the ones to really put boxing on the map.
That you remember and associate, with that particular style. So, shout out, just fuck yeah, man.
Shout out to the Island boys.
Island boy, fucking tattoo my face, look like a dumbass. Fuck him. Fuck the both of them. Jesus Christ. Don't you TikTok yourself off of I don't know what the fuck. Shit. But yeah, that was UFC Font versus Aldo. Shit me. But before we go, where can people find you, Voodoo Maximus?
Oh man, definitely look on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook page, and Twitter. I also do that Snapchat. I don't really know how to do it, but I don't know. I might just shut it down, but it's there for whatever's.
Yeah, we might have a kitty-faced Voodoo Maximus with a fucking sparkly filter. I don't know. I'm saying words that I don't even know what the fuck I'm saying, so I might get canceled. I don't know. Maybe in a particular community that fucking sparkly-faced, whatever the fuck is. I don't know. It's godliness. I don't know. But I'm according to what's dumb shit, memes, and podcasts is what I do. So come get your shit. Great show, says Shaman Steve. Thank you, good
Shaman
sir.
Steve. Steve. How's the new abode?
Yeah. Ooh. Oh man, we got to get some catching up with Shaman Steve. He's got a whole new house. Right. A whole new house is where he be. Happy Monday. Yes, it is Monday in Australia, McMack, and you're the one to tell us. So you're amazing. You guys are amazing. Lovely. We can't wait to see pictures posted on not the social medias because Shaman Steve doesn't have too much of that nowadays, but I know Voodoo and I will have it, and
that's right. Shaman Steve is of nature. Yes. Shaman Steve is of nature. He is one with nature right now, and that's all he cares about. And I can dig it.
Speaking of nature, nature's calling because paper, it always goes under because if you use toilet paper over, well, you might be a shithead. There you go. Exactly. Yep. That's where we're ending here. So we'll see you Thursday with Voodoo in the Woods as we get ready for a 2-title fight UFC pay-per-view. Holy shit. Hallelujah. Holy shit in the words of Clark Griswold. We are out.